Hey everybody, Kate Miller here, coming to you on our latest Zoom session. I am joined by my favorite law partner, don't tell Chris, Mr. Nick Cushing. Hey Nick.
Hey.
Hey. All right. So I dropped some major excitement on you earlier when we were talking and preparing for this, that I have come up with what I think is going to be the term of 2020 and 2021 certainly, and it's called COVID uncoupling.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Right? Yeah. So obviously during the quarantine and during the stay-at-home order, folks are getting on each other's nerves, for better or for worse. And we have seen a really pretty sharp uptick in the number of consultations and intake calls that we've done in recent weeks. And so with all this COVID uncoupling happening, we are getting a lot of the same questions from folks. And so I thought it might be helpful, Nick, if you would share with us some information, just some tips, little bits of info that you are telling folks, or that you might tell folks who are not yet separated, but are considering taking that step here in the near future. What do you got?
Yeah, and that's a good question, Katie, because we get that question a lot. So I kind of looked at it from a couple angles. One is the financial piece. A lot of times what will happen is a client will come in and we learn that during the marriage, only, one of the spouses was responsible for the finances, right? Which makes sense, because you can't necessarily have two people paying the bills or something's going to fall through the cracks. So usually there's a pretty uneven balance of the level of financial knowledge between the parties. So if you're the spouse who hasn't been handling the finances and maybe doesn't have as much of that information, then before you do your uncoupling, I think it's a good idea to just pull together some documents to get some information. So I would get copies of the tax returns and the tax documents for the last few years. Tax returns can tell us a lot of information. Get copies of bank statements, retirement account statements, current statements for all those accounts. You can go back further if you want to, but basically just something to give us an idea of at least what the accounts are out there, so that we have a starting place. Because a lot of times we have clients come in and they'll say, I don't have any idea even, what our situation looks like. So if you've got a current statement for each of those accounts, that makes life a little bit easier going forward. And we don't necessarily have to rely that we're going to get all of that information.
So those are awesome points. What else other than financial documents would you tell folks to start thinking about at this point?
Absolutely. So obviously for a lot of folks, kids are going to be involved in the equation. And it's always best if you can get a custody schedule worked out before the separation actually happens. That way the kids aren't in limbo as much. We're not stuck in a situation where we're fighting over who's going to have the kids this weekend or who's going to take the kids to soccer or whatever it might be. So just to be thinking about that, and if you guys can work it out before you separate, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. What about anything else in terms of bank accounts? And do you ever advise folks to go ahead and open up a separate bank account?
We will. Again, there's kind of two situations, I guess, where that would be appropriate. You don't want to make things any more tense than they already are. You don't want to start out with a fight, but sometimes it's necessary to do that. For example, if you're the spouse who's, say, been a stay-at-home parent and the other spouse is the one working and you're totally dependent on them for your financial support, and you're worried that they're going to not act in good faith and they're going to cut you off and try to starve you out, then it might be a good idea to open up a separate bank account in your own name and transfer some of the marital funds into that account so that you've got a buffer in case they decide to do that. Alternatively, if your spouse has, we see things like substance abuse and mental health issues and that kind of stuff. And if something like that, if you're worried is going to lead your spouse to just wasting away all of the marital estate, then sometimes it's necessary to transfer that money into your own name, and just in order to protect it while we're going through the process of dividing everything up.
Yeah, great pointers. Yeah. And every case is going to be different and unique, and each case obviously has its own set of facts. So if you guys out there have any questions about your specific case, it is totally worth it to reach out to an attorney, just so that you know that you're getting good, specific, tailored advice for your situation. And we'd be happy to help you. Give us a call if we can help. But Nick, thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Katie. See you guys soon.
Bye.